Elena used to say she hated crowds. She'd wrinkle her nose and say, "Too many people make me dizzy, Liam." I believed her every time. I thought it made her gentle, different. The kind of woman who wanted quiet mornings and soft music instead of malls and chaos. So, when she told me she'd stay in on Thanksgiving night while I worked late, I smiled. "Don't wait up," I said. "I might be out till 2. She kissed my cheek. I'll probably just read. You know me, I hate crowds. I remember that line too well. The next morning, the lie was sitting right there in her car trunk. A pile of designer bags, shiny tags still hanging. I froze, staring at the words Black Friday exclusive. I whispered to myself, "No." She wouldn't. I carried one of the bags inside, Gucci, another one, Tiffany. My pulse started pounding. None of it was for me. When she came out of the shower, she froze, towel wrapped tight around her. "Why are you going through my car?" "I forgot my charger," I said, my voice shaking. "Found this instead." She laughed too quickly. "Oh, that? It's just for my sister. I helped her shop online." "Online?" I pointed to the store receipts. "You went out." Her eyes darted away. "It wasn't a big deal. You told me you hated crowds." "I do," she said sharply. But she begged me. The silence after that was long and heavy. I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to. But something inside me cracked. I worked my shift, pretending everything was fine. But her voice kept replaying in my head. "I hate crowds. I hate crowds." That night, while she showered again, I checked her phone. I shouldn't have. I know that. But I did. The first thing I saw was a photo. Elena smiling in front of a store holding a shopping bag. And beside her, Ryan, my best friend. His hand was on her back. I couldn't breathe. My hands went cold. When she came out, I held up the phone. "Who took this?" Her face went white. "You went through my phone? Answer me." "It's not what it looks like." "Then tell me what it is." She crossed her arms, defensive now. "He just ran into me there. Coincidence." Coincidence? At midnight? At a store you told me you'd never step into? You're overreacting. Overreacting? I laughed bitterly. You lied to my face and she slammed the phone down. Maybe if you weren't working all the time. Don't, I cut in. Don't turn this on me. Tears filled her eyes. I just needed someone to talk to. And you picked him? Ryan listens, she said softly. That sentence hit harder than any slap. I listen, I said quietly. Not like he does. My heart broke right there. I grabbed my coat and left. I didn't even know where I was going. I just needed to get out before I said something I couldn't take back. I ended up sitting in my car outside Ryan's apartment. His truck was parked out front. I stared at it for 20 minutes, fists clenched, breathing hard. I called him. No answer. Called again. Voicemail. Hey, it's me, I said into the phone. I just found something. Call me back. He never did. At home, Elena was pretending to sleep. I stood by the door, staring at her shape under the blanket. My chest hurt like someone was pressing on it, I whispered. How long? She stirred but didn't answer. How long, Elena? She turned her head slowly. It wasn't planned. That made it worse. So it happened? Her eyes filled with guilt. Liam, please. I walked out before she could finish. The walls felt like they were closing in. Every memory suddenly looked fake. The coffee dates, the road trips, the way she used to laugh at my stupid jokes. Outside, the cold air hit me hard. I wanted to scream, to hit something, to erase the picture burned into my brain. But I just sat in the car, gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white. Ryan's laugh echoed in my head. Elena's smile. The photo. Her words, I hate crowds, I whispered to myself again. You liar. When the sun rose, I drove back home. She was gone. Just like that. Her toothbrush, her perfume, even her blanket, gone. Only one thing was left on the counter, a note. I'm sorry you had to find out this way. Please don't call me, I laughed. It came out more like a choke. I won't, I said aloud. Not anymore. I dropped the note into the trash, grabbed my keys and walked out. That morning, the world felt heavier than I remembered. I walked into the apartment, phone in hand, trying to calm myself. Elena, we need to talk. She didn't look up. About what? Don't play dumb. I saw the photo. She sighed, finally glancing at me. Her eyes glistened. You went through my phone? I had to know. My voice shook. You lied. You lied about everything. She turned away. You're invading my privacy. That's what's wrong here. Privacy? I snapped. You're standing there with Ryan in a picture smiling like nothing happened. It's not what it looks like, she said, her voice flat. Then tell me what it is. She faltered, tears forming, but they looked forced. We just ran into each other. Ran into each other? I laughed bitterly. At midnight? In a mall you said you hate? It's complicated, she shouted, finally looking at me, her fake tears trembling. I didn't plan anything. I shook my head. You've been planning it for months. I can feel it. Every time you lied, I felt safe. I trusted you. You're overreacting, Liam. No, I said, my voice low. You're lying. Every smile, every word, it was a lie. She blinked, silent for a moment. Then she whispered, Maybe I didn't know what I wanted. I swallowed hard. You didn't know what you wanted? I thought you wanted me. I wanted someone to understand me. And Ryan does that? I asked, my hands shaking. Yes, she said simply. I felt a cold weight settle in my chest. You never wanted me. You wanted attention, someone to fill your emptiness. That's not fair, she snapped. You don't know anything about what I feel. I know enough, I said, my voice breaking. I know that every lie, every secret, every stolen moment, I wasn't part of it. She turned away again. Maybe you should leave. I didn't argue. I grabbed my keys. Fine. Outside I drove without direction. I didn't care where I went as long as I moved. Every street, every light, every billboard reminded me of her. The laughter we shared, the soft words at night, the I love yous, all felt like poison now. I stopped at a diner near the highway. It smelled like coffee and frying grease. I slumped into a booth, still gripping my keys. Liam? A voice asked softly. I looked up. Maya, my old classmate. I hadn't seen her in years. Maya? Wow, it's been forever. She slid into the seat across from me. You look rough. You have no idea. I have an idea, she said quietly, her eyes steady on mine. Want to talk? I shook my head. I don't even know where to start. Start anywhere, she said. I've got time. Night shifts are slow, I laughed bitterly. You have no idea. My fiancée. My best friend, I found them together. Maya nodded slowly. I see, that hurts. I'm sorry, Liam. It's more than that. It's everything. I trusted them. I thought I knew people I could depend on. And now? She asked. I don't know. I stared at the table. I can't even call Ryan, he won't answer. Elena, I don't even want to see her face, but I can't stop thinking about it. Maya leaned back. You're allowed to feel like that. Betrayal is messy. It's raw. It's unfair. I feel shattered, I admitted. I keep replaying every smile, every I love you. Was it all fake? It was real to you, she said softly. That counts, and it will help you heal. I stared at her, amazed at how calm she was. How can you be so grounded? I learned a long time ago, she said, shrugging. Some people will break your heart, but someone listening can help you rebuild it. I nodded slowly. Thank you, really. I don't know why I didn't reach out to someone like you sooner. Better late than never, she said with a small smile. I leaned back, sipping the coffee she'd ordered. For the first time in hours, my chest felt a little lighter. I pulled out my phone and saw a message from Claire, Elena's sister. Call me, I know what happened. You deserve to know, I stared at it. Another piece of the puzzle, another crack in the world I thought I understood. Maya reached across the table. You'll get through it, Liam, one step at a time. I nodded. One step at a time, and for the first time that night, I believed it. I couldn't sleep. My mind was a storm of Elena's face, Ryan's grin, and the photo that burned itself into my brain. I picked up my laptop, hands shaking. Maybe I shouldn't, I whispered to myself, but I did. I typed her name into the search bar. Her social media pages opened like doors to a world I didn't belong in anymore. Private stories, tagged photos, captions full of smiles and laughter, hers and Ryan's. My stomach twisted. I whispered, They've been doing this for months. I clicked on an old comment she left on Ryan's photo. Couldn't imagine life without you. My chest tightened. So everyone knew. I scrolled faster. Every tagged post was another stab. Every story, another lie. I called a few friends. No answer. Texts ignored. I can't believe this, I muttered. My friends, all of them knew. At work the next morning, I tried to focus. My fingers tapped the keyboard, but my mind replayed her smiles. Then I overheard Ben talking to someone else at the copier. Even good guys get played, he said. I froze mid-keystroke. Their laughter was low but sharp. Did they know? I whispered under my breath. Ben noticed me staring. Liam, you okay? Yeah, just a headache. You sure? I nodded, forcing a smile. Fine. Inside, my rage simmered. I spent the whole day thinking of confrontation, revenge, every sarcastic word I could throw at Ryan. Every lie Elena ever told me. It all fed the fire. That night, I came home, phone in hand. I opened her. Feed again, hoping maybe I was wrong, that maybe the posts were innocent. Then I saw it. A vague quote she posted. Sometimes you have to choose yourself. I laughed. A dry, bitter laugh. Choose yourself? After lying to me? After pretending? I threw the phone across the room. It hit the wall with a sharp crack. I sank into the couch. My hands covered my face. My phone buzzed with a text. It was Mrs. Hayes. I warned you about her, Liam. You never listened. I whispered. Of course you did. Her words didn't hurt as much as the betrayal did, but they cut enough to remind me that some people had predicted this, people I barely wanted to admit were right. The next morning, I dragged myself to work. Ben approached me quietly. Hey, you all right? He asked. I don't know anymore, I admitted. I feel like everything I believed in is fake. Take it one step at a time, he said softly. You'll figure it out. Don't let it crush you. I wanted to scream. Figuring it out doesn't undo the lying, doesn't undo her cheating. I know, he said gently. But if you let it eat you, you lose more than they do. Trust me. His words didn't feel comforting. They felt like responsibility. Responsibility to myself, to not fall apart. During lunch, I checked her feed again, unable to resist. Every photo, every post, every comment screamed betrayal. I remembered her face, the fake tears, her excuses. I trusted you, I whispered into the empty break room. I gave you everything, and you threw it away. Ben walked past, giving me a small nod. I couldn't tell if it was pity or warning, maybe both. At home that night, I tried to distract myself. TV muted, I stared at the ceiling. My phone buzzed again. Another post from Elena, a mirror selfie with the caption, Life moves on. Don't hold anyone back, not even yourself. I groaned and threw my phone across the room again. This time it bounced off the wall and skidded across the carpet. My hands shook. I wanted to throw something else, anything. You're broken, I whispered to no one. And they don't even care. I sat in silence for a long time. The rage and hurt mixed together until I couldn't separate them. Then I realized I had the proof. Every lie, every betrayal, every smile she faked, it was all there. I didn't need confirmation from anyone. Maybe now I can finally... I trailed off. I don't know. Maybe now I can figure out what to do with all this anger. Ben's words echoed in my head. Don't let it eat you. I stood up and walked to the window. The street was quiet, nothing like the chaos in my mind. Choose yourself, I muttered, repeating her quote. Fine, I will. The night felt heavy, but something inside me shifted. I wasn't healed. I wasn't okay. But I had clarity now. I had proof. And proof, I realized, was dangerous. Elena and Ryan had taken so much from me. But now, armed with knowledge, I could plan. I could think. I could survive. And that thought, small as it was, gave me a flicker of control in a world that had shattered. I saw it before I even grabbed my phone. A new post from Elena and Ryan. Coffee mugs, laughing. Our kitchen. I froze, my hands trembling as I held the device. I whispered, "You two actually live like this?" I stared at the screen. Their smiles, their hands brushing over mugs, the casual happiness. They didn't even notice me. I typed a comment, deleted it, typed another, deleted it again. "No," I muttered. "Not today." I blocked them, both of them. Instagram, Facebook, every possible contact. I didn't want to fight. Not yet. Not while my hands were shaking like I had no control. I paced my apartment, listening to the hum of the fridge. I imagined ripping everything down, their photos, their laughs, but I didn't. I just disappeared into my own silence. Maya called. "Liam, you okay?" she asked. "I'm fine," I said, though my voice betrayed me. "Just busy." Busy? Or avoiding? I swallowed. Maybe a little of both. "Do you want to talk?" I laughed bitterly. Talk? About what? The woman I loved? And my best friend? The people who just broke me? "You can talk to me," she said softly. "I'll listen. No judgment." "I don't want to talk. I want them to feel what I felt, the emptiness, the betrayal." "You're not them," she said quietly. "You can't make them feel it. You can only survive it." I ran a hand through my hair. Survive it. That's the plan. I packed my essentials quietly that night. Clothes, some dishes, my laptop. No dramatic exits, just silent steps on the hardwood floor. I left one note on the counter. "You told me you hated crowds, but you loved the attention. Keep it." I didn't look back. The next morning, I met Maya outside the building. "Ready?" she asked. "As I'll ever be," I muttered. She smiled gently. "You'll get a place, a fresh start, and one day maybe peace." "Peace feels far," I said, trying not to sound bitter. "You'll find it," she insisted. "Step by step. Betrayal cuts deep, but it doesn't define you." We drove in silence. The city felt different, colder somehow, or maybe it was just me. "Why do you care so much?" I asked finally. "Because I know what it's like," she said. To trust and lose, to think someone is everything, and wake up to see they're nothing but shadows. I nodded, staring out the window. "Yeah, shadows." We found a small apartment. Cozy, nothing fancy, just walls, a bed, a kitchen. I didn't unpack everything. I didn't want comfort yet. I wanted the ache to stay a little longer. Maya helped with the boxes. "You don't have to rush anything," she said. "I'm not rushing. I want them to burn a little longer in my mind," I admitted. She frowned. "That's not healthy." "Maybe not," I said, "but it feels fair." Later that day, I went to work. Mr. Hall noticed my quiet entrance immediately. "Liam, you all right?" he asked. "I'm fine," I said automatically, though the lie tasted bitter. He frowned. "You've been off lately. Missed deadlines? Distracted? Everything okay at home?" I shrugged. "Just personal stuff." He gave me a long look. "If you need help, talk to me. Don't let it get worse." "I appreciate it," I said, forcing a nod. "I'll handle it." Inside, I replayed Elena's smiles, Ryan's smug face, their posts. Every laugh, every coffee mug, every moment. They didn't even realize what they'd done. I whispered to myself, "Let them burn. Let them feel nothing. I'll keep the fire to myself for now." The apartment smelled faintly of fresh paint and cardboard boxes. I sat on the bed, staring at the walls, letting the silence fill me. I didn't cry. Not yet. Not for them. Maya texted, "Dinner later? You don't have to eat alone." I typed back, "Maybe. Need time to settle first." Her reply was simple. "Take it. One step. One step." I repeated it in my head over and over, as if a mantra could save me. Maybe it could. At night, I lay on the bed staring at the ceiling. I thought of Elena laughing with Ryan, pretending the world was right. I thought of my hands shaking at their post. I thought of the note left behind, the silent words meant to hurt. Silent revenge, I whispered. This is it. Just let them live their lives while I rebuild mine. And in that quiet, I felt the tiniest flicker of control. I couldn't change the past. I couldn't erase their smiles, their happiness, or the betrayal. But I could disappear. I could rebuild. I closed my eyes. Not forgiveness. Not peace. Not yet, just survival. Months passed. I tried to focus on myself. Gym in the mornings, long drives with the radio loud enough to drown my thoughts, journaling at night. Another run today? Maya asked one evening when we crossed paths at the small cafe near my apartment. Yeah, I said. Feels better than sitting still. You look better, she said softly. Less hollow. Thanks, I muttered. I'm trying. The world kept moving, and quietly things started to unravel for them. Ryan's company went under after some shady deal. Heard it from a coworker. You're still following them? Maya asked one night, noticing my grim expression as I scrolled the news. I'm not, I said quickly, though my thumb betrayed me. I'm not watching. You're lying, she said. I said I'm not watching, I insisted. It's just... Details reach me. Details, she repeated, raising an eyebrow. You're keeping score. I'm aware, I admitted. Elena lost her job shortly after. The news hit me like a slow punch. Her relationship with Ryan had been exposed at work, people whispering, sharing screenshots, gossip spreading like wildfire. I didn't do anything, I told Maya that night over coffee. It just happens. I know, she said quietly. But you look at it. You can't hide it from yourself. I told you I'm not watching, I said, but I knew she was right. Every detail came to me somehow. Friends mentioning it. Messages forwarded by people who felt sorry. Small posts she thought I'd never see. You shouldn't care, Maya said. I don't, I said quickly, then paused. Not really. But I can't help feeling... My voice trailed off. Satisfied, maybe. Guilty, too, she nodded. That's human, I stared out the window. The street was quiet, lights reflecting in puddles from the earlier rain. It feels strange, watching them stumble without lifting a finger. It's like justice, but not mine to claim. You're not responsible, Maya said. Their choices caught up with them. Karma doesn't need your help. I know, I admitted. But every night when I think about their smiles, the way they laughed at me behind my back, I feel this flicker of something. Control, maybe. Better that than bitterness eating you alive, she said. I'm trying, I said. Really trying. The next few weeks I stuck to my routine. Gym, drives, journals filled with anger, sorrow, reflections. I wrote about the betrayal, my own mistakes, the people who let me down. At work, Ben noticed the change. You look calmer, he said one day. Trying not to explode at random, I joked, but the smile didn't reach my eyes. You'll get there, he said. Trust me. I hope so, I muttered. Even at home, I caught myself checking updates accidentally. Old habits die hard. A news snippet about Ryan's company bankruptcy flashed. I whispered, that's something. Maya, sitting across from me, shook her head. Stop this, Liam. You're not the executioner. You're not responsible for their fall? I know, I said. I just can't stop noticing. Not looking, but noticing. It's like a shadow of satisfaction. And guilt, she added, reading my expression. I nodded. Yes, both, every night, both. She reached across the table, touching my hand. Then don't let it fester. Let it remind you of what you're building, not what they're losing. I nodded again. Building, right? For the first time, I felt a subtle shift. The anger was still there, but it was quieter. More reflective. I could feel myself turning from bitterness into something else. Something slower. Something sharper. Maybe one day, I whispered, I'll stop noticing entirely. You will, Maya said, step by step. One night at a time, I took a deep breath, letting it out slowly. Watching karma unfold wasn't mine to control, but it was mine to witness. And maybe in witnessing I could find a fragment of peace. Step by step, I repeated quietly to myself. One night at a time, and for the first time in months, I didn't feel hollow. Not completely. I was sitting on the couch staring at the blank wall when I heard the knock. Liam? Her voice trembled. I didn't move at first. Elena. She leaned against the doorframe, tears streaming down her face. I made a mistake. I stayed silent. Let her speak. Ryan. He cheated on me, she said, voice breaking. I was stupid. I didn't mean it. Please, can we talk? I finally stood and stepped aside. Come in. She walked in slowly, dragging her feet as if afraid of the space between us. I closed the door behind her. You look different, she said, sniffing. I didn't realize what I did. I know, I said quietly. Her eyes searched mine. Do you still love me? I laughed softly, bitter. I did once. What? I did once? But the version of me you loved is gone. You buried him under lies and betrayal. Her shoulders sagged. I didn't know. I just don't, I interrupted. Don't justify. Don't beg. I heard it all before. The lies, the excuses, the fake tears. She flinched. I'm sorry, Liam. I swear I am. I walked to the window, my back to her. Sorry doesn't undo anything. It doesn't erase what you did or what you stole from me. I know, she whispered, her voice breaking. But can we try to fix this? I turned slowly. Fix? Elena, you don't get to fix me. You don't get to repair what you destroyed with a few words and tears. She took a step closer. I thought we could. I thought too, I said. I thought I knew you. I thought we were something real. But you lied. You chose him over me, over everything we had. There's nothing to fix here. Her hands trembled at her sides. Please, tell me you can forgive me. I can forgive, I said slowly. But forgiveness doesn't mean reunion. Don't confuse the two. She stared at me, confusion and desperation in her eyes. So you don't want me back? I shook my head. No, not like before. Not ever. Her knees weakened slightly. She sat down on the edge of the couch, wiping her face. I never realized how much I hurt you. I know, I said. I lived it. Every day I felt it. And now you feel a fraction of it and it's not enough. I don't know what to say, she whispered. Then don't, I said. You've said enough already. She looked at me for a long moment, and I saw the girl I loved once, the girl who smiled at my stupid jokes, who held my hand when the world felt heavy. That girl is gone. Only this shadow remains. I wish I could change it, she said softly. You can't, I replied. You can't change the past, Elena. You can't bring back trust. You can't undo the betrayal. Tears fell freely now, and she got up. I'll go. I needed to tell you. I needed you to know. I didn't reach for her. I didn't ask her to stay. Go, I said softly. It's over. She walked toward the door, pausing. Do you hate me? I shook my head. No, I feel like nothing. Maybe peace. Maybe emptiness. Maybe both, but hate? No. I've wasted too much on anger already. She opened the door, lingered a moment, then left. I closed my eyes and sank onto the couch. The apartment was silent again, and it felt lighter. Maya had texted earlier. Did she come? I typed back, yes, gone now. I feel free. Not happy. Not healed. But free. Her reply came quickly. That's progress. That's enough for now. I stared at the wall, thinking about everything that had happened. The lies, the betrayal, the photo, Ryan, the Black Friday haul, all of it. I realized something. Forgiveness doesn't mean letting someone back in. Forgiveness doesn't mean erasing the past. It means letting go, and I had let go. I didn't feel love for her anymore. I didn't feel longing. I felt a calm I hadn't known in months. For the first time, I realized I could survive this. Not just survive, maybe even thrive. I whispered to myself, it's over. I don't need her anymore. The emptiness felt heavy at first, but it wasn't suffocating. It was space. Space for me to breathe, to think, to exist without the weight of her lies pressing down on me. I picked up my journal. Wrote a few lines. Nothing about her. Nothing about Ryan. Just me, my thoughts, my life. When I closed it, I smiled faintly. Not at her. Not at anything external. At myself, I realized finally forgiveness was mine. Closure was mine. She had no power here anymore, and that was enough. I met Maya at the cafe again. Same booth, same corner, same quiet corner where the world felt like it slowed down. You ready for coffee? She asked with a small smile. Always, I muttered, feeling my chest tighten, but in a different way than before. Less anger, more anticipation. She handed me my cup, didn't ask about Elena, just waited. You don't ask? I finally said, surprised. About her? Maya asked. No, I don't need details. I just want to know how you are. I stared at her. That's new? Not really, she said, sipping her latte. People who care listen. They don't pry, I laughed softly. Care? I didn't realize it felt this normal. You've been through a lot, she said softly. It's okay to rebuild slowly. I still think about her, I admitted, my voice low. The betrayal makes me feel disposable, like I was just a placeholder until Ryan came along. You weren't disposable, she said, her eyes steady. You were misplaced. For a while, in the wrong hands. I swallowed, letting her words sink in. Misplaced? I whispered. Never thought of it that way. You were never the problem, she said. They were, I nodded slowly, staring into my coffee. It's strange, I feel wholer talking like this, not like my old self, but stronger. You're allowed to feel that, she said, her tone gentle. Strength comes from surviving. Pain teaches it, but it doesn't define you. We sat in silence for a while, the cafe hum filling the gaps between words. A few days later, Ben came to me looking worn out. Liam, I don't know how to handle this. The breakup, it's eating me alive. I leaned back, taking a deep breath. Ben, I get it. I know that feeling. You feel like someone tore a part of you out, left you bleeding. He stared at me, shocked. You know? Yeah, I said, voice low. I know, I've been there. Betrayal, loss, thinking someone you trusted could just erase your world. He nodded slowly, relief washing over his face. I don't even know how to talk about it without feeling weak. You're not weak, I said firmly. Pain doesn't make you weak. Ignoring it does. Talking about it, that's how you survive it, how you grow. We sat on my couch for hours, him talking, me listening. No judgment, no advice unless he asked. Just presence, I didn't know I could. He trailed off. Cry? Break down? I offered. Yeah, you're human, I said. You're allowed to feel it all. Anger, grief, confusion. Don't let it rot you, he exhaled slowly. Thanks, Liam, you make it feel easier somehow. I shrugged, smiling faintly. I guess surviving teaches you how to be there for others. Maya came by a few nights later. You look different, she said, studying me. Calmer, grounded, not like the storm I saw before. I'm trying, I said. It's weird. I used to hate feeling exposed, talking, admitting pain. Now it feels like breathing. Good, she said. It should feel like that. Not suffocating. We walked in the park nearby, leaves crunching underfoot. The cold air hit my face, sharp and clean. I'm realizing something, I said finally. Pain. It connects people if we don't let it rot us. Ben, you're proof of that. Maya, you too, she smiled softly. Good, that's the point. Pain is messy, but it can teach empathy. Connection. I stopped and looked at her. I've been broken for a long time. Betrayal, heartbreak. It made me feel hollow. But now I feel whole-ish. Not perfect, not healed, but grounded. Like I finally understand myself. You do, she said simply. I nodded, a small laugh escaping. I never thought I'd get here. From being consumed by anger and emptiness, to this. To life, she said, raising her coffee cup. To life, I echoed. I walked home that night feeling lighter. The apartment was quiet but not lonely. My journal sat on the table waiting. I opened it not to write about betrayal or revenge this time, but about growth, about how I wanted to move forward. The man I used to be, the one who trembled at the thought of loss, who replayed every lie. He was still in me, but quieter now. Not gone, just refined. Sharper, stronger, more aware. I whispered to myself, I survived. I'm still standing. And maybe finally, I'm becoming the man I'm supposed to be. Maya had taught me patience, listening, and empathy. Ben had reminded me that shared pain could connect us. And me. I had remembered how to breathe again, how to feel without drowning. I leaned back, staring at the ceiling. Not perfect, Not healed, but alive, grounded, whole, and for the first time in months I felt ready. I pulled into the gas station late at night, headlights cutting through the fog. The pump rattled beneath my hand as I fumbled for the nozzle. "Hey, Liam!" A familiar voice tried to sound casual. I looked up. Ryan. Hair sticking out in every direction. Cheap shirt wrinkled, eyes tired and hollow. "Ryan," I said. Nodding slowly, he laughed, a weak, cracked sound. "Man, it's been a while, huh?" "Yeah," I said, pretending to pump more gas than I needed. "You look different," he said, trying to smile. His voice trembled, betraying him. "Crowds must feel empty without her," I said quietly, my eyes fixed on the gas meter. He froze mid-laugh. A flicker of recognition, fear maybe, passed over his face. He stammered. "I didn't save it," I said softly, shaking my head. Not interested in excuses. He opened his mouth, closed it again. Cheeks flushing, he looked smaller somehow. Maybe karma shrinks you when you least expect it. I finished paying, swiping my card with deliberate calm. "You sure you're okay?" Ryan asked, voice small. I smiled faintly, not with warmth, but with quiet finality. "I'm fine. You'll figure yourself out. Hopefully before it's too late." He swallowed, nodding. Yeah, maybe." I stepped back from the pump, putting the nozzle down, then turned toward my car. He didn't follow. Didn't say another word. "Good night, Ryan," I said. "Yeah. Good night," he mumbled, still frozen in place. I slid into the driver's seat. Engine started. Headlights cut through the mist as I pulled away. I didn't feel anger, not anymore. Not even the flicker of bitterness that used to gnaw at me when I thought of him or Elena. I realized then that closure wasn't dramatic. It didn't require confrontation, shouting, or proving a point. It was quiet, clean, like walking away and leaving the echoes of the past behind. Later that night, I sat at my desk, journal open, pen in hand. The apartment was quiet, only the soft hum of the heater filling the room. I wrote slowly, deliberately. I used to think revenge meant making them suffer. But the real revenge was living better. I paused, rereading it. The words felt heavy at first, then light, like lifting a weight off my chest. Maya's text buzzed. "Late night writing again?" "Yeah," I typed back. "Processing feels different now." "Good," she replied. "Different is progress." I leaned back, sipping my coffee, watching the steam curl into the air. I thought of Elena, how she came crawling back, how she begged, how I didn't feel the old pull. I thought of Ryan, the ruined company, the betrayal, the way he looked at me tonight like a shadow of the man he was. It didn't sting. It didn't burn, it just existed, a fact of life I could observe without letting it touch me. Ben had called earlier, checking in after his own struggles. I told him about Ryan briefly, about closure, about walking away. He laughed softly, relief in his voice. "Sounds like you finally got it." "Maybe," I said. Or maybe I just realized the point wasn't them. It was me, my peace, my sanity. Living better. I put the pen down, rubbing my eyes. For months, anger had been my companion. Betrayal my shadow. But now something had shifted. The fire didn't consume me anymore. It warmed me in a small, quiet way, enough to move forward. I walked to the window, looking out at the city lights. Small glimmers like stars fallen to earth. Life kept moving. People moved through it, messy and careless, just like before. But I felt steady, anchored, strong. No need for revenge. No need for validation, just life lived well with control over my own heart and mind. I whispered to myself, almost like a vow, I survived. I'll thrive, and I won't let them touch this piece. The pen in my hand tapped the page gently. I wrote a few more lines, plans for the future, small goals, things that mattered to me, not the ghosts of my past. For the first time in a long time, I felt free, not light, not careless, just free in a solid, unshakable way. I thought of Maya, of Ben, of nights filled with journaling, gym sessions, long drives, coffee, conversations, and quiet reflection. These were the moments that stitched me back together, and the realization hit me fully. Revenge had never been theirs to feel. It had always been mine to live. I closed the journal, set the pen down, and leaned back in my chair. Silence filled the room, comfortable, whole. I smiled faintly. Not at them. Not at anything outside. At me, and for the first time I knew it was enough. I sat on the sand, legs pulled close to my chest, watching the sun rise over the ocean. The waves lapped gently, and the cold wind tugged at my jacket. Maya sat beside me, sipping her coffee, quiet. I didn't need words yet. The sky was enough. Finally, I spoke. I keep thinking about how it all started. How it started? She asked softly. Yes, I said. Elena, Ryan, the lies, the betrayal. I thought love meant trusting completely, that it meant giving everything and expecting nothing in return. You learned the hard way, she said quietly, but sometimes the hard way is the only way. I looked at her, letting the warmth of her presence anchor me. I don't feel angry anymore, I admitted. Not really. It's strange. I thought I'd feel rage forever. But it's just ashes now. The fire is gone. That's good, she said, her eyes reflecting the orange glow of the sunrise. It's healing when you realize fire burns itself out, and all that remains is what you choose to keep. I nodded, staring at the horizon. I kept myself. That's what matters. I survived. And maybe that's love too. Not the kind I thought I needed, but the kind that doesn't destroy you. She laughed softly. Wise words, Liam. Wise? I asked, smirking faintly. Maybe just tired of carrying the weight. You're allowed to be tired, she said. But you're also allowed to be proud. Look at you. Look at how far you've come. I watched the waves, letting the rhythm calm me. I remember the nights I couldn't sleep, the phone in my hand, the photos, the messages, the lies. I thought I'd never feel whole again. I thought the anger would consume me. And it almost did, she said gently. But you didn't let it. You fought it. I fought, yeah, I said, voice low. And somewhere in that fight I learned. Forgiveness doesn't mean reunion. Revenge isn't about making them suffer. It's about surviving, growing, and reclaiming your own life. Maya nodded. Exactly. You found yourself in the fire they lit. Found myself, I whispered. I didn't even know who I was for a while. I let them define me. Elena, Ryan, the betrayal. I let it take me over. But now I see the truth. I'm more than what they did to me. That's the lesson, she said, smiling. Sometimes you have to lose your heart to find your self-respect. I looked at her, grateful, feeling the weight of months lift. Self-respect, I repeated. I had it all along, buried under anger, grief, and jealousy. I didn't need them to teach me. I just needed to survive the fire and remember who I was. And now you do, she said. You're standing in your own light. I watched a gull dive for a fish, and I realized I could breathe without thinking of betrayal. I could smile without thinking of lies. I could sit here with her, the ocean, and the sunrise, and just be. You're smiling, Maya said, noticing. I am, I admitted, letting the words escape without shame. For the first time in a long while. I don't feel anger, not at her, not at Ryan. The past is just ashes now, and I can finally move forward without dragging it behind me. That's beautiful, she said softly. I took a deep breath, tasting the salt in the air, the crisp morning. It's more than beautiful. It's freedom. Freedom, she echoed. I looked out over the waves, feeling the sun warm my face. I used to think love meant trusting completely. But maybe love, real love, is also trusting yourself. Trusting that you can survive the worst and still choose happiness. Maya nodded. You've learned the hardest lessons, Liam, and you came out stronger. I smiled, a small, genuine smile. Yeah, stronger, grounded, alive. Not bitter. Not broken, just me. She reached over, nudging my shoulder gently. That's the man I knew you could become, I laughed softly. I hope I keep becoming him. The sun climbed higher, painting the ocean gold. I felt the warmth in my chest, the quiet joy of a new day, the ashes of the past finally settling, and for the first time in a long while, I felt whole. I walked into the mall, the noise hitting me like a wave, shouting kids, sales announcements, the hum of hundreds of footsteps, Black Friday chaos, the same scene that used to make my chest tighten, my palms sweat, my heart race with anxiety. But today, it didn't. I moved slowly, taking it in. Couples laughed, hands overflowing with shopping bags, toddlers tugging at their parents' sleeves, the scent of fried food and coffee mingling in the air. I watched a group of teenagers argue over who would pay for snacks, and I smiled. Liam? I turned to see Maya weaving through the crowd, a grin on her face, coffee in hand. She slipped next to me effortlessly. You made it, she said, glancing around. I thought you'd avoid this madness. I thought I would too, I admitted. But I wanted to see it. See everyone living, moving. Smiling, she raised an eyebrow. Didn't you hate crowds? I chuckled softly, shaking my head. No, I just hated feeling alone in them. She studied me for a moment, then smiled knowingly. You've come a long way. I looked down at my hands. Yeah, feels weird. I used to shrink in places like this. Afraid someone would laugh at me, cheat me, leave me, all at the same time. Now it's just normal. Normal can be good, she said. I nodded, taking a deep breath, letting the sounds wash over me. It's more than good. It's freedom. A family passed by, kids chattering excitedly, one clutching a plush toy they'd just bought. I watched the parents exchange tired but happy smiles. I thought of Elena and Ryan, the lies, the betrayal, the emptiness they left behind. None of that mattered here, not in this moment. I see why you like it here now, Maya said softly. I laughed, shaking my head. It's not the mall, it's me. I'm finally okay being part of it without needing anyone else to validate me. She bumped my shoulder gently. That's huge, Liam. Yeah, I said, looking around again. And it's strange. I thought freedom would feel loud, explosive, like some grand declaration. But it's quiet, just walking through life without chains, without shadows. Maya glanced at me, her smile soft. And you're not looking back? I shook my head. Not once. Not at her, not at Ryan, not at anyone. The past is ashes. I carry lessons, sure, but not weight. A couple walked by, laughing as one tried to hide a ridiculously large shopping bag behind their back. I chuckled, genuinely watching the playful struggle. See that? I said to Maya, life goes on. People mess up, laugh, shop, argue over trivial things, and it's beautiful in its chaos. Beautiful, she echoed, sipping her coffee. I pulled out my phone, snapping a quick picture of the crowded walkway. Not to document the chaos, not to share with anyone, but for me, a memory of where I am now, who I am now. You always do that, Maya said, noticing the photo. Capture moments. I used to capture pain, I said, scrolling through old photos. Now I capture life. A kid ran past, nearly colliding with me. I stepped aside, laughing as he apologized, his mother trailing behind him. It's good, I said, more to myself than anyone else. Being part of it, alive in it, without fear. Maya glanced around, smiling. I like this version of you, calm, present, free. I nodded, my gaze drifting across the crowd. Me too, it's taken months, maybe years to get here. But I feel whole! She bumped my shoulder again. You've earned this, Liam. The peace, the quiet victories, the freedom from ghosts. I smiled, letting it spread genuinely, fully, for the first time in a long while. Yeah, I have. The announcements continued, the laughter echoed, people jostled past me with bags and snacks and holiday lists. And I stood there in the middle of it all, feeling neither lost nor alone. Hey, Maya said softly, ready to get some coffee? Or maybe a slice of that ridiculous pie someone's carrying. I laughed, shaking my head. Why not both? Let's enjoy it. For once, let's enjoy the crowd. We walked together through the chaos, smiling at strangers, dodging carts and excited kids, moving through the sea of people without fear, without worry. Just life. And I realized something vital. Freedom doesn't roar. It doesn't shout. It whispers. It lives quietly inside you until you finally notice. I glanced at Maya, then back at the crowd, and smiled again. For the first time in a long while, I felt at peace.